Lin decoding number 3. And today's topic, I'd like to talk about the difficulty starting a small business in today's world. In today's world, it's very, very difficult for anyone to start a business in today's world. And the reason behind is not because I can't speak for any other countries, but I'm only speaking on Australia. Is the fact of there's a very, very high taxes within small businesses, where big businesses or multinational organizations will get away with paying minimal tax to the state where they get away with it because people do rely on these big corporation companies as they innovate and create jobs in the global market. Or perhaps not only just big multinational companies, maybe perhaps where big local or national brands, and that's how you do business in today's world. And it's just I won't talk more details about this, but there's more of the neoliberalism and the capitalists more regards in this topic. But anyway, let's talk about the real thing. Now, I have been to this restaurant right here, as you see on the screen, Viet Chopsticks. Now, I've recently been to this restaurant, probably be like 2 weeks now. And each time I pop by, whether it's for lunch or dinner, it's empty. And I don't know why. Well, I must admit, it's not in the prime location when it comes to food, but you can't go wrong with Vietnamese and Chinese food. You can't say no to pho. You can't say no to summer rolls and spring rolls or egg rolls or broken rice or crispy chicken or any of those. You can't go wrong with any of those. Now, when I look at this shop, there's nothing wrong with it. It's clean, it's hygienic, very modern. As you can see on the picture, it's literally what it is. It has pretty much has a 90 angle degree of having a view of the car park, so there's a lot of sunlight. It doesn't smell like an Asian restaurant or anything like what we have, or stingy or dirty or anything like that. It's a family business. You can tell when I went in there, it's a family who owns this business and everything. Before I even step, having thoughts of coming to this restaurant, the first thing I do is just go to the rating, and I see, boy, 2.6 out of 5. That is a very, very difficult to start a business, or perhaps running a business with that sort of rating. But I do not let rating get to my way, and I felt really bad. The food is pretty good. The price was decent. It's a very, very decent pay. It's something it's affordable. It's a lot more affordable than the Vietnamese restaurant that I've been to. Obviously, the food is not on the top, but I could say, it's something I could eat within my area. But it's just no people. And it's very frustrating to see that. Like, I'm not just saying because it's my business or anything. It's not my business and I wouldn't care. But what I'm trying to say here is, you have this really good business and affordable price, and maybe the location is not where all the foods are, but it's surrounded by multinational companies in surrounding areas. So therefore, it's the only food around that area. So it's just that the restaurant is so great and everything, and yet there's no people to get in there. Probably they'll be spending $100,000 each year on rent. Now, on the renovation, they probably spend like more than $400,000 because it's a big shop. It's a large shop, a restaurant. Sorry, I can't say shop, a restaurant. And these are the people who generally knows how to cook and things like that. But it's very disheartening to see businesses like that. How sports businesses ever do survive in the modern world. It's just very, very disheartening just to see that. And especially those who has a family, and obviously usually family businesses do this sort of stuff. And as well, a lot of feminists will always bash on these small businesses, especially in regards to food court and restaurant, where there's high profit as one of the highest profit in the shopping center is food, and not retail. But just to see businesses like that, it's just very disheartening. And I'll show you another screenshot that I've done. There you go, 3 of the restaurants right in front of you, with not at the satisfaction rating overall, and they're all Viet restaurants. Maito, that's the one I will be focused on today. But what I'm trying to say is, regardless what sort of small business you run, everyone has to rate. And food, whether it's mechanics, whether it's everything else, everyone is just rating. And people just rate whether they leave a bad comment, and it's very, very bad. And let's just talk about restaurant reviews. Those who comment sounds like, if they have a bad service, waiter's bad, the food is decent, it's pretty good or affordable price, they'll just give them a bad service for marking the rating down. And we're humans. We're not like, we're not superheroes. Like, we can't just deliver constant great service all the time. Like, we don't. Sometimes they have things going on, maybe business going downhill, maybe something's going on with their life, or just perhaps there's something just happened. Maybe the manager or the boss got on a bit of clash with them, but that's which is part of work. Maybe they're just not in the mood, or not in the great mood, or perhaps you kind of get what I mean. Like, in food like that, and and then they get marked down. Some of the critics that are on the food, they sound like they're on MasterChef, trying to be like typing all these food critics. Sounds like, I'm just like, your food is not great, you put too much MSG, you put too much salt and this and that. And I'm just there back of my head. You go out to have a dinner or lunch or breakfast, right? Whether you like it or not, or so much MSG or anything, that's part of business. There's no such thing in today's world. Everything is organic, pure from the fish out of the great ocean. The fishermen who work so hard, who delivers to to your local suburban and hand it right in front of you and say, this is a wild catch salmon fish from a fisherman from the great ocean. It doesn't work like this in today's world. I'm sorry. We have to, as businesses, whether they have to cut costs or anything just to meet their profit margin, and as well with their rent and their workers' needs and everything like that. Well, my landlord owns an accountant firm, and there's 3 reviews, and one of them was terrible, and he knows the ones that write a terrible review on it. And it's basically talking about, his service is bad, he doesn't do this, he doesn't do that, and everything. And he said to me, he's like, he has to comply with the law and what's been given within the accountant industry. And he has to work within those boundaries, the code of conduct, the code of ethics, and those laws. So, for that person who leaves a negative review, it's just a big slap, just saying like, he hasn't done anything wrong. And this is where I don't like about rating. Starting a small business in today's world is very, very difficult. Now you have to not only just, getting a business loan, or perhaps putting your family into it, and business mind, and all this work safety regulation and everything, and high taxes. And you got people who just put negative review. And that's why I said, when you do this sort of stuff, it's just crazy, right? But what I'm seeing right in front of me is Mito. I'll go back to this restaurant, right? Mito is like, this restaurant, maybe, people didn't rate it high, But when I walked past last week ago, one of the local council rated #1 in the area for being affordable, delicious meal and everything like that. And I really like the council who make, and it's the actual big sticker on front of your shop now stating that. And regardless whether you like the food or not, or when the people are not happy or anything like that, at the end of the day, when you leave this sort of feedback, you destroy their businesses. I'm sorry. And these businesses do not deserve to go through that. These businesses go through huge risk, huge borrowings. The whole family is into it. And the downside about this whole thing is these small businesses who actually generate majority of the taxes within the countries. Obviously you got the exports and tourism. But when it comes to businesses, the ones that generate the taxes within the country is the small businesses, the family businesses. As you, not sure which part of the world you are, but there's less and less small businesses. A lot of small businesses close down, which they cannot compete with the multinational cheap goods made in Bangladesh or things like that, etc, etc, etc. So it's very difficult, and I don't know where is this world heading to, because if small business is collapsing in Australia, housing, bank restriction is on, export is going kind of downhill where China's not buying coal or aura, things like that as much as before, and we just rely on tourism and things like that is very dangerous, where you pretty much wiped out 70% of the country's taxes generating, which you rely on these small businesses. And now these small businesses copped the biggest slap on their face, have to pay large amount of taxes. And this is why I like to make videos like this, and just to whether any viewers will look at this and to understand where I'm coming from, and saying like there's a huge problem going through this. So that's the video. Hope you guys enjoy a bit of inside talk about what it's like within this industry and why do we need them. It's very important.